Welcome back, you guys. We got us another beautiful day out. Man, does it look gorgeous. Too bad I have to work today, but hey, at least it gives us a good ride to work. It could always be worse. I could be stuck not being able to be on the bike. So today I kind of wanted to talk about what kind of riding do y'all enjoy? I know when I first got into motorcycling, the only kind of riding I figured I was going to be into was just like touring and stuff like that, like just really going and sightseeing. But since I've got into it, I've found myself like really starting to enjoy, you know, the racing scene for this stuff too. And while I kind of knew I would enjoy that from the beginning, I've kind of avoided getting on bikes for quite a long time. I always kind of knew it was something that I would like doing. We used to ride dirt bikes as a kid, and man, those things were just lots of fun. You used to jump them and all kinds of stuff. Of course, I've got myself hurt a few times, but you know, if you're not wrecking, you're not really riding. I can say that, especially when it comes to off-road stuff, because if you never get out there, you'll never actually get better with something like that. And so I think it's kind of an interesting topic, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people just like me have gotten into this whole hobby thinking like, hey, maybe it's the inverse, you know, like maybe they thought, you know, I'm just going to be into the sport bikes and stuff like that. But then they start, you know, getting out there and they start seeing all these Harleys and stuff, and maybe they want to do some cruising, and they realize that their sport bike isn't necessarily set up for cruising by any means. So they maybe find themselves leaning more towards getting themselves a cruiser. Maybe not necessarily a Harley, but just a cruiser in general. And I'm kind of finding it the opposite way around. I thought, you know, heck, I'd just get into the motorcycle so I can, you know, get me a nice bike and I can just kind of cruise around. I can go places and just see a bunch of cool stuff. And that is something I definitely plan on doing. But, you know, I didn't think that I would enjoy being able to drive these bikes quite the way you're able to. It's a whole different world coming from the car scene to the bike scene. And they're not wrong. I mean, the amount of raw power you get out of a bike is just insane compared to, you know, price per dollar for what you get out of a car. I know for a car to have this level of performance, I would have to be spending, I don't know, probably close to 40 or 50K on a car off a lot. That's if you were probably buying it. And if you were building it, you're probably going to spend at least fucking 10K cash getting to like match something like this. And this is a completely stock bike. I haven't done any mods to it. So, and this honestly isn't even the fastest bike you get. If you're going to the sport bike world, I'm pretty sure there's stuff that you could buy stock that's just going to mop this thing up off the floor. But it's so, I, you know, think it's just insane. You know, I love a V8 and I love cars, but I love being able to do this shit right here a whole lot more, and I can't lie, and it's hella fun. I don't think anybody can argue with you being able to just snap 60 in fucking seconds and then up. You know what I mean? Like, it, I don't see why more people aren't on bikes, but I can kind of see why they don't, because, you know, the whole dangerous side. But if you're into driving cars fast, I mean, you wreck a car at 150 plus, you're probably not surviving. I mean, you have a better chance of surviving, you know, versus me on this motorcycle. That's 100% sure. But I mean, really, it's not going to be too much better. You survive a crash like that and you're really just going to be fucked up. You're going to have hella fines, court stuff, You're gonna have the damage that's done to your body. Who knows? You know, you could never fucking walk again or something like that. You never really know. You know, I personally would just assume that if I fucking get in a wreck at that kind of speed, and the rest of my life is pretty much over with because financially I'm ruined, and you know, physically I'm ruined, I would have just assumed fucking die when you get in that wreck. I mean, honestly, you don't have nothing left after that, especially with the way they'll throw the book at you nowadays. I mean, you'll get in a wreck like that and you just pray to God you don't fucking kill somebody, because if you kill somebody else, then you got manslaughter charges at the very least and stuff like that. So at least when you're moving those speeds on a motorcycle, you know, the chances of you killing somebody else in that wreck, unless you have somebody else on the back of your bike, is very slim. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not an excuse to drive like an asshole, but at least it's very much one-sided. I don't remember this statistic right off the top of my head, but there's an overwhelming amount of motorcycle crashes where it's just one party involved, and it's simply because the rider fucked up. You know, and it doesn't even involve another person whatsoever. So like a good percentage of the crashes on motorcycles, even the deadly ones, really don't even involve another party. Of course, you don't have to worry about your own stuff. I mean, there's dangers in a car, there's your pros, there's your cons, you know, both ways around. So I think it kind of just balances out when you're doing the racing stuff. Now, if you're just out there cruising around, not like speeding, you're just on your little gas saver, you know, well, yeah, you got some arguing to do. I can't really argue with you there. Your car is always going to be safer. If you're driving the speed limit, not breaking the law, not, you know, splitting up lanes or anything weird like that in your car, you're going to be safer. It's just the whole, you know, whole point of laws. But if you're not, right, and you're being a hooligan out there in your car, just remember, you know, you're a whole nother danger on the road, I feel like, comparatively speaking to a motorcycle. You know, you crash that car doing 150 and you're straight up like taking somebody's life if you hit somebody. I mean, you're like a ton of rolling mass just flying down the road. The motorcycle rider might be fucking 500-600 pounds, 700 pounds at the heaviest. And while that's not no better, especially in a wreck, you know, when it comes to just straight out damage done, you can't lie, a motorcycle doesn't do the same amount of damage in a wreck. Also, the wrecks are kind of completely different, you know. Like I said, most, you know, cars and stuff, it's like collisions between themselves, like they're running into each other in some kind of way. On motorcycle, it's typically because the rider has messed up in some kind of way. So you could argue there's a lot of space for rider growth to eliminate a lot of this stuff. So I don't know, that's just my whole thought on it. And I was just kind of curious, what kind of riding do y'all do out there? You know, I got into it for the cruiser riding. I just wanted to go tour, go see places. I still do, but now I've got the hankering for the racing and stuff like that, and I'll probably go down that road for a little bit longer. So I was just kind of wanting to engage with my audience a little bit and see what y'all thought and what kind of riding y'all mainly do, because it's really interesting. I haven't got to run into any riders out here on the road that I've got to spend any time with. So this entire time of motorcycling, I've been told, you know, you're gonna run into people out on the road and stuff like that. And honestly, I haven't really ran into nobody yet. So I don't know, maybe I just don't look friendly enough. Then again, I've also been on a Sportster the entire time. Maybe I got a stigma or something, I don't know. Well, I guess I was on a Suzuki Boulevard, a C50T, and then I went to my Sportster, and now I'm on my next Sportster. And the only thing I could kind of see myself Harley-wise going to from here would be the Lowrider, like the ST version. I think those look really cool, but otherwise, Harley really ain't got much that I've actually worried about getting. This right here was the only other thing that I was really like, yeah, that's different and I want it. After this, if I want a Harley, like I said, I'll probably get that lowrider. And if I don't get the lowrider, then I'll probably get myself a sport bike. Probably get myself a 1000cc. Maybe I can be like one of them crazy people out there and have a bike that moves like 200 miles an hour. Well, you guys, thanks for coming along for another ride. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate the viewers. Y'all have a wonderful day.